Hi guys, so welcome to my page. As you probably know, if you're on my page, I'm intuitive Elaine. I'm a psychic medium and I also mentor new psychic mediums, and I teach people who you might not even think that you've got clair-senses, but everyone's got clair-senses, how to open those clair-senses, how to use them, and if you wish to develop to that high level, to use them to do professional readings as well. And I've got a special guest with me, Kaitlyn, who is from, what's the name of your business?
Green Love with Kaitlyn, and I'm an intuitive moon mentor.
Amazing. Can you just explain a little bit about what that means to be an intuitive moon mentor?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and thank you for having me on today. Super excited to chat more with you. But yes, my name is Kaitlyn. I'm an intuitive moon mentor, and I work with women to teach them lunar abundance, which is all about pairing your emotional release with the phases of the moon to call abundance into your life. So I attract a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs, a lot of Reiki practitioners, or healers in some sense or fashion who want to call in more abundance in their life and use their certification usually to go full time and full force into their passion and what they love to make an impact in this world, which I'm all about. So I help them heal some of the blocks and fears and stuck emotions that sometimes we can't even identify ourselves, right? And move that and heal that, shift that, so they can get out there and be vulnerable and live their passion.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I like the fact that you said that sometimes we don't really realize that these blockages exist, which is why we need like an outside mentor. Because for me, like, we've only ever been in our own head with our own insecurities. Like, so sometimes we can have a warped sense of things, without an outsider's perspective, which is why I think it's so important to get help and mentorship if you wanted to have a, start a spiritual business. I personally, um, if I'd have had more of that. So basically, my story is I started this in 2017, and then I didn't have the right mindset to be confident about doing it. So I stopped, and then I came back to it during the pandemic. But I think if I'd have had that right kind of like mindset support and stuff the first time around in 2017, then I would have been, able to keep going much more easily, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I hear all the time, right? Sometimes it's just like, oh, I feel stuck. I feel stuck. I'm doing the personal development work. I'm working on myself. I know things about healing, but I still feel stuck. I'm caught in this pattern. And it's different for all of us. Sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's a behavioral pattern. Um, but it's kind of just that language of, oh, I feel stuck. I can't identify it. And I experienced this too, for myself. That's so funny. You mentioned 2017. That's when I had my own spiritual awakening. And I didn't shift my business and my coaching to spirituality until 2018. But that's interesting that it was around that same time, 2017. But yeah, that's the feeling that led me to hire my first coach, to be able to step out there vulnerably. That was my, like, I'm doing the healing. I thought I worked through these fears. I need help to identify it. So my first coach helped me work through some of those emotions. And for me, it was my throat chakra, a massive blockage to just express and do so freely and put myself out there and literally like speak. Like it felt very physical, in my throat. So yeah, I always encourage, even to this day, I still have coaches, and mentors because I think it's just part of the human condition, right? Our ego wants to protect us and keep us safe. So we can't always identify for ourselves what that specific thing is because it might not feel safe to go there.
Yeah. I think for me, there are limiting mindsets that come disguised as common sense. Like, I think people would say, like, don't do a spiritual job, or, just have that 9 to 5 with that. That's the common sense thing. That's how everyone else makes money. That's the safe thing, right? But, life is for living and experiencing and everything like that, isn't it? So, anyway. But I think, what was I going to say about that? Yeah, for me, it kind of like got to the point where I was like so like sick of my day job, and like sometimes people unfortunately have to go to that real pain point to kind of deeper within themselves and be like, well, what path should I really be on? Unfortunately, sometimes you have to get to that point where you're like, I bloody hate my job.
100%. Yeah. Sometimes you just need that fuel and that intensity and that fire. And sometimes it's that situation that you really don't want to be in that does that for you. Yeah. And I love that we're talking about this as we kind of get into our topic of abundance today, because these things that we're sharing now have been brought up to me again and again and again this week, and can get in the way of abundance sometime, and calling in abundance and manifesting, right? These fears, these blockages, these things of like kind of feeling stuck. But yeah, I mean, I was the same way. Before I was like, okay, I want to be a wellness coach at the time when I got started. And it was that kind of disgust and being completely done with participating in jobs that I wasn't passionate about and didn't enjoy, and was like, anyone can do. So yeah, I had to get really like a fire. There was definitely a huge fire there that was like, okay, I'm done with this. That led me to jump full force into my gifts and my passion.
Absolutely. And what I think that a lot of people don't realize is that it can be financially fulfilling and successful as well to do this type of work. A lot of people, like I speak to people who are, secretly they've always sort of wished to work in a spiritual field, whether that's to be like a psychic or a healer, or, some that kind of field. But then they're quite worried about, how is that going to support me and my family? Like, it doesn't seem like the sensible, thing for people to do. But what has been brought to my attention is that I've been seeing people with the same skill set as me making decent, really, really decent amounts of money. And I was like, yeah, I want that.
Like, hold on a second. I can do that. I can do that. That's like your proof. Yeah. Like, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to start to ask for this, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does it work? The manifesting an abundance with the moon, how does that work for you?
Yeah, definitely. So I love teaching about the moon because I think there's this beautiful metaphor of how our life goes and cycles, right? And we cycle through emotions and thoughts and beliefs and behaviors. And I like to pair that with the moon because we can visually see her changing in the sky, right? And I dive into that deeper into the work that I do because there's a very unique energy with each moon phase. There's specific emotions that come up with each moon phase. There's specific fears and behaviors and tools for each phase that can help you shift through that, right? And it's just very helpful. Partly because of that mindset that you've been talking about, right? And to just be able to recognize, like, okay, this is where I'm at right now. This is the phase that I'm in right now, the cycle that I'm in. Okay, the next one is here. So I just have to work through this, support myself through this to get to the next phase. But yes, so a lot of times, so a lot of you may already know we have a powerful new moon this week. Saturday. So December 4th is a powerful new moon. So a lot of times we think about manifesting with the new moon. So we can talk about that a little bit today. So you may already know it can be really powerful to think about your goals and intentions around the new moon. The new moon is usually a beginning, right? She's dark in the sky. We can't see her. She's starting her new cycle, her 29 and a half days, I believe, cycle. And so it can be a great time to think about new beginnings. And a lot of times, almost more powerfully, I think. So I love like the full moon and releasing. I think that is so important in the process of manifestation and calling in abundance, because you have to think about it almost like, I like the analogy of like a backpacker, right? A backpacker, a hiker, like there's only so many things you can fit in that backpack, right? And you're going to be hiking a long journey, so you're not going to want to be holding this massive amount of weight on your back. So you kind of have to decide, okay, what am I going to put in that backpack? And you might have to get rid of some things, right? So I think of emotional release kind of in that same way, or even, right, I've mentioned this before, emotions, thoughts, behaviors. There's only so much we can hold. So you might have to set some of those down to call in the new thing. So this week, usually with the new moon, it's that dark phase we're called the go within, usually, the introspective phase. And a lot of times fears come up, fears and doubts. And for a lot of people, it can feel a little heavy to look at those shadow aspects, which might be things that you don't like about yourself, or maybe other people told you they don't like about you or something, and you have this kind of belief about it. So to actually look at those things during this week, the new moon phase, and certainly look at them, create an awareness around them, that in and of itself is very powerful. But if you can go a step further and create acceptance and start to love those things in a certain sense, even though it's like, wait, you're telling me the thing I don't like about myself, I need to also like and appreciate about myself. Yes, there's immense power there, because you have it and you act it out, and it's with you for a reason. It's helping you in some way, form, or fashion. But how can you look at that? So I love to pose
I can
questions.
give an example of that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, please do.
So, like, my mum's always saying I'm disorganized and messy and stuff like that. But for me, it comes with being very creative, and it comes with having a different priority in life as well. Like, my priority in life is not, making sure everything is all spick and span and absolutely perfectly clean and tidy. And I have these like moments of inspiration where I kind of like go here and there with my thoughts as well. And I think that is kind of reflected in my cluttered environment. So, it takes all sorts to make the world go round, as they say. And, I think that, if we can see our negative points as kind of strengths and see the positive sides, I think that's always good. Yeah
100%. And one of mine that I've always struggled with, I talked a little bit about my throat chakra blockage, right? So I used to see like, oh, I'm quiet and I'm shy, and that's a bad thing. I can't put myself out there, or whatever it might stall me from doing, or and I can look at it and see, oh, well, that makes me a great listener. That makes me a great listener. I'm more kind of observant and willing to kind of hear and able to hear other people, because I'm not super vocal all the time, which is good. But and that practice, once you start to do that, whether it's journaling or if you work in conversation with other people, and process some of that can really help you manifest more quickly, right? Because you mentioned like making money as a spiritual entrepreneur. Money is just a form of energy, right? So if you're able to work with your emotions and your body, which is also just energy, and kind of shift that to a little bit more positive, feeling joy and feeling pleasure and having fun, you can manifest a lot more quickly. And I don't want to scoot over the fact that all emotions are valid, and we're going to feel negative emotions, and we're going to have self-doubt, and we're going to get down on ourselves sometimes, and those are valid, and we need to feel that and process that. And And when you're ready, the quicker you can shift back into that fun, that positivity, that lightheartedness, the quicker you can call in abundance.
Right. And I feel like that there are actually some times when people don't try to do something at all because their mindset is so like through like upbringing, society, ancestry and things like that. There are some things that people wouldn't even try really because they don't think it's possible for them. So like I think there are a lot of people that wouldn't even try to make a decent living from a spiritual business that I've kind of observed, that they just kind of see it as like a hobby job as such. And, they, and I've been watching a lot of Amanda Francis lately, actually, who's, I don't know if you know her. She's like the manifesting money queen or something, or whatever she's called. But it's just kind of like, and she always knew since she was really young that she wanted to be a millionaire. And no one was like going to stop her. And her mindset was like, it's possible, I can do this. So I think the important thing with manifestation is that it's not about you have to absolutely believe that you can manifest something. It's about allowing the possibility that you maybe could to enter your mind and have a go,
absolutely. And to take that next step, right? You don't have to get to the end, you don't have to get the finish line just yet. Just take that next step. Because when you were talking, it was like, you're right, they kind of catch themselves and don't let themselves continue right in the cycle. They just kind of stop or freeze. But if you can just create this loving, I say this all the time, curiosity, right? Follow your curiosity, allow yourself to dive in a little bit deeper. And if you need help with this, especially around the new moon, I encourage you to join my group, Moon Mystique and Mastery. I have a free new moon journal and new moon journal prompts that I can share with you that can help you just create this curiosity and dive into some of these things a little bit more and think about, okay, where am I playing small, or where am I stopping myself from even starting perhaps? And just, get curious about that. So I have a free resource. If you like, you can reach out to me or join the group and I can get that to you. I'm happy to share that, especially this week with the new moon.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So is that a free group or is that a paid membership group? Or
Yep, the one I just mentioned is a free group. Yes. So I love to share all things about the moon and manifestation. And I talk a lot about developing your intuition or strengthening your intuition. I think we're all intuitive. It's just how open you are to it. So I share meditations and things, different things in there. Crystals. Absolutely. I don't know if we have any crystal lovers out there. I've got some with me today. I picked up my lapis lazuli before we hopped on, which is one of my favorite stones.
Yeah, I'll have to join that group, I think. So another thing I was going to say about manifestation is that we start by manifesting small, the things that we believe are possible. And as we get more successes and our belief grows, so can our manifestations grow.
Yeah, exactly. And some people may be able to resonate with this. So I have my background in personal training and group fitness and and I grew up playing a lot of sports and things, right? So you may have heard about, say, like athletes or even like Olympic athletes, probably maybe the most well-known, the visualization techniques that they do, right? And so they visualize and think about and start to believe in their ability to do something, to accomplish a goal, to run so fast, to jump so high, whatever it is, right? They visualize, and just being in that energy, seeing it in their mind's eye, believing it, helps them accomplish it, right? So just like you're talking about getting your kind of mindset right, there are tools that you can do, and it makes a huge difference. It's funny, my husband was watching some YouTube video and it kind of came up about a kid's something, you know, those Ninja Warrior things where they run up the ramp. A kid was doing that and he's getting frustrated, like, I can't do it. But when he paused and was like, okay, look and see yourself getting to the top, accomplishing it. After that, he did it again, and lo and behold, bam, he accomplished it. He got to the top.
Right, yeah. And we need to do that to ourselves as well, don't we?
Yeah.
Essentially, that's the way that I find myself working quite a lot, coaching people in their psychic mediumship skills, in their clair-senses. I do, you know, it's a lot of it is about building their self-belief and encouraging them. And I know that everyone has clair-senses and the ability to develop them further.
Yes.
So I hold that belief for them and encourage that belief. You know, it's kind of like, and it ignites their belief in themselves. And I think this is why important it is to have mentors as well. So you have the example of someone who's achieved the thing that you're aiming for, and being in their energy, it awakened, in my opinion, it awakened your energy a little bit to whatever they are activating within you. So, for example, with me, I activate people's clair-senses, and you know, even people watching, you know, you might be thinking, I've tried activating my clair-senses, I'm not getting anywhere, I've done all the meditations and I can't see anything. Honestly, come for contact me, have a chat with me, because I'm so confident that I can help you. And I think the thing is with visualization, people don't, it's so common to do visualization to meet spirit guides and all this kind of stuff, but your spirit guides can be communicating with you in a million other ways. So if you're expecting to communicate with your spirit guides in a certain way, it might work or it might not, and you might need someone like myself to point out, like, you know, how are you feeling during this meditation? You know, are you hearing anything? Can you feel anything around you? Things like that, to, you know, if you're not sort of clairvoyant, which is seeing in your mind's eye spiritual things, you might be, a lot of people have a clair knowing, right? You just know something, you just know, and you don't know how you know, but you know. And that sense of claircognizance, that can be developed into like a full-blown being able to interact with your spirit guide and a loved one in spirit. So yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to pause for a moment too and kind of define a little bit the clairs, and you can help me clarify too here before we come back to that working with a mentor, because I use that language too sometimes, and people are like, no, what are those? What are the psychic clairs? And what does being psychic mean? Versus intuition. We all know, okay, I'm intuitive, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. So you can get intuitive messages through the different clairs, right? So for some people, they might be if you're very visual, you might see things in your mind's eye, or you might just be a vivid, like, daydreamer, right? Yeah. Elaine mentioned some of these, the claircognizance, just knowing things, you don't know how you know it, information just comes to you, or even simple things like being able to, like, finish someone else's, like, sentences or something, or just giving powerful insight, even though it's like, oh, I don't know where that came from, right? To another person in conversation. Clairaudience, you mentioned messages come in different ways, right? So that would be hearing. So it's not always like a voice or something. Sometimes they can come through in like a song. I get messages in songs all the time, right? And it can be powerful, like, oh, a song just pops in your head, and then maybe you go search the rest of the lyrics and see, like, oh wow, that's really powerful, or I needed that, or whatever it might be. Messages can come through in different ways. What else did you mention? Feelings. I'm clairsentient, which is feeling. I can pick up on people's physical pain, which I do, like, in readings sometimes, and I'm able to do, like, body work and movement and breath to help people move those emotions and move that energy. Or emotions, right? You can pick up, a lot of people can probably identify with being empathetic, right? Or I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Being an empath, and being sensitive to people's emotions around them or their environment, right? So just to hopefully clarify a little bit, because I know people in my audience are like, wait, what is that exactly? But we can identify with how those things
Yeah.
actually show up. But I 100% agree with you. Yeah, working with a mentor or a coach is so powerful to help you move at a quicker rate than you could ever possibly imagine by yourself because of what Elaine mentioned, right? You're using their energy and their guidance and their proof for you that what you want basically can be accomplished.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I love just one of my favorite things is being able to reflect back somebody's gifts to them. You know, you mentioned that kind of mindset piece. So I think a lot of times we are intuitive or we are, you know, psychic, but we might not think that we are, or we might not have fully accepted them. But right when
Yeah.
I can sit in a session with someone and hold on, pause, and reflect back their gift to them,
Yeah.
and help them build that confidence and that strength in it.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Plus, I'm
100%.
just amazed at what other people are capable of, quite honestly, and how their gifts show up.
Yeah, 100%. It's that validation, isn't it? Which is so important. And I think it is important as well. Validation. Trust is important, but especially at the beginning stages, validation is really important as well. So that, you know, yeah, just so that you know you're not imagining it or something like that. But yeah, this is also like part of what I do when I'm working with people is, you know, the amount of times where a loved one in spirit walks in during the session and I say to the client, oh, you know, an ancestor's walked in. Do you feel it's male or female? And they're like, male. And is it old or young? And then they're like, old or young or whatever. And I'm like, yes, I saw an old man coming in. You're right. But it is, you know, it's that validation, isn't it? Because if they didn't have that, you'd just be like, oh, it's just one of those like random things. I'm imagining it. I don't know. Was it something? Was it not? Blah blah blah.
It's easy to second guess, yeah, when you're kind of by yourself, which is why, yeah, if you're not already in a community, I don't know if Elaine has a Facebook group or, you know, Facebook groups can be so supportive because a lot of times we don't have anyone. I know I didn't have anyone in my physical kind of environment who was growing their psychic abilities and working on intuition and following the phases of the moon, right? But that's a beautiful positive aspect that something like a Facebook group can bring. Or if you're really wanting to call in abundance, you can join like a challenge or something. Like I'm leading my group members and clients through a free abundance challenge this month, the month of December, and sharing different tools to help you do that and manifest and get into those good vibe feelings and end this year out with a positive bang, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, finding community is huge.
Yeah. Now I do have a Facebook group which is Spiritual Development with Elaine. Yeah, that's my Facebook group. So.
And then you can get in there and practice too, depending on where you are in your journey, right? I used to be in a group, they did Throat Chakra Thursdays where you could come on and practice your gifts, whatever those might be. If you did card pulls, or there's so many ways that gifts can show up. It can be fun to practice there in a safe space where you're not on your public profile, right? But in this private community where other people are doing the same things as you. They're just following their curiosity. And saying, what is this all about to develop? And then maybe take it to the next level, like Elaine says, working with individuals to realize, oh, I could do this for a career and a job and call in like financial abundance that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so my program, which is Step into Your Psychic Superpowers, it is to help people to be able to do professional readings, psychic and mediumship. I give you all the tools to do that. And, you know, everyone who's been my client so far, everyone's been able to connect. Actually, everyone who's had like a discovery session had like a chat with me. You know, even when they've thought they don't have abilities, or being able to show like, look, you do, it's just knowing how to develop it really. But yes, everyone's been successful with that. But one component of the step into your psychic superpowers is money and success mindset, because this is something which I see lacking in my community amongst tarot readers and psychics and intuitives and things like that. I see people undercharging, undervaluing their
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because a psychic reading, mediumship reading can change someone's life for the better. And they can be so healing. They can show you kind of like where the blocks are in your life. They can, like mediumship as well. You can reassure someone that their loved one in spirit is walking beside them every day. I had a reading where I got the message from someone's husband in spirit that he gave her permission to move on and find happiness again with another gentleman. And so that is a life-changing message for someone, which we deserve to be fairly compensated for it. And also, I think there's a bit of a misconception. I think that people think that it's a gift which you just have without doing any work, any practice, and so therefore it's a gift from God and you shouldn't charge. But it takes the vast majority of it's your time. Like if you're working full time and you're doing free readings or very, very cheap readings, you're going to be tired when you come home from work. You're not going to have the energy to put into the readings. And most people have trained for years and years and years and practiced to get a high level. So therefore, it needs to be reflected in the compensation, the monetary compensation.
Yeah, and I don't know who said this. There are probably multiple people, but I love when I'm reminded by other leaders that I follow, like Emily Aarons is one who helps people similarly to what you do, reminding us that when you have money, you can help more people.
Yeah.
When you're abundant, you can let that overflow, and you deserve to have money because you're going to do good things with it. You want to help more people. So you're allowed to be supported. Yeah. And a lot of times I do this in my work. It's like getting out of that habit of putting other people first. I feel like that's so related, right? And we're just like giving, and we're not allowing ourselves to receive. So if that's you and you want to work on that fear and that belief, I can certainly help you with that. I've gone through that as well. And it's beautiful to work with the moon energy to kind of learn that lesson and learn how to receive with ease and let yourself have good things and abundance and success in whatever way, shape, or form that is to you, right? And I love the metaphor with the moon because that's what she does, right? She receives light from the sun, so she can really help you change that mindset in yourself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I do teach the success mindset and money manifestation mindset as well because I think it's an important part of starting a psychic business, because if you don't have the success and the right money mindset, you're going to like burn yourself out by undercharging and then perhaps be like, oh no, I don't feel like doing this anymore, or anything like that. I think my son is moaning. He wants his dinner now. So we'll just tap for a couple more minutes. Jack, I'll come and get it in a minute, okay? He has eaten. He just ate 2 bowls of cereal when he came home from school, but apparently he's still hungry. But I'm not like starving my child.
That's okay. Yeah, I know how it is. I'm a new mom, or a new mom again. I have a 3-week-old right now, and it's like every waking moment is like, oh, I'm hungry. Even my I have a 19-month-old too, my son Fox. He's a great eater. It seems like he's always hungry. So growing minds, growing bodies, right? That's normal, but yeah, no worries. And yeah, and I help women as well. I mentioned this a little bit before, but I have a program where you can work one-on-one with me inside my container, Moon Magnetism, which is one-on-one 8-week container where you learn more about the phases of the moon. But it's for the spiritual entrepreneur who's ready to use the training that you already have, whether it's Reiki, whether it's coaching, whatever it is, to help serve other people and make an impact in other people's lives to help them better themselves, right? So you can start using that training to make money doing what you love. Because when you show up in your passion and your light, first of all, just the feeling of that is amazing, but you can call in more abundance as well. So I help women one-on-one with that. And I have the next launch. I'm on maternity leave right now. So the next launch is after the new year. Just after the full moon. So it's about mid-month, January 19th. But if you're curious about that, if anything here that we've shared today resonates, please reach out to me. But a great place to start is either with my free Lunar Abundance Challenge. It's happening all month long in December, or hop in my group and you'll get those downloads and things as well for any free offerings that I have. But yeah, I would love to connect, so feel free to reach out.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I think, yeah. I was, I think it's good to, to be more kind of like intentional with our abundance and with the full moons and everything, and sort of like going through that. Yeah, I don't know if you do it like with regards to the seasonal kind of cycles as well, because we start like, like spring and, well, I mean, I kind of follow like the Celtic wheel of the year. I don't know if you do as well, but that is also a good, kind of tool for following our abundance, because it's cyclical, isn't it? So you think about spring, it's like spring is the time for, well, actually winter. So you'd start in winter, perhaps setting the seedlings of intentions or new ideas and new starts. And then things are naturally growing in the spring with the energy, and then it's like a similar kind of cyclical kind of energy that we can work with regards to abundance. Yeah,
definitely, 100%.
I just wanted to share as well for anyone watching that for me, like I don't like visualization that much, but I've found that writing has been writing what I want to manifest has been just as fruitful as visualizing, because I tend to find everywhere says visualize, and I'm like, oh, I can't really visualize. I can see psychically what is there, but I can't tell me to see like a blue teacup in your head. Like I can't. But if I write it down, I find it does manifest just as well as visualizing. And the key rule for me with manifestation is it has to be something that we believe we can achieve, and we need to put like and more as well.
Yeah, this or something better. Yeah, or and more, something to that effect.
Yeah, because I had like experience of this actually. I used to work in a sales team selling gas and electric contracts, and I used to write like I wanted to get 15 sales every day, and I always got 15 sales every day. And other people in the team usually got like 10 or whatever. And there's one day like it was really busy, and everyone else got loads of sales that day, and I got bang on 15. And a lot of other people got more. And then I realized after that, I was like, I should have put, I want to get 15 sales or more.
Like, wait a second. Yeah. Why am I limiting myself? Or more. Yes.
Yeah.
So, that's a great manifestation tip to write it down. I'm a writer. I love writing. I journal all the time. And I think that's very powerful to be very intentional with what you let out and set out to do. And also I like to share that it's part of how the manifestation process works, right? It's a great symbolism for it, because a lot of times what we want to manifest, it starts as maybe a spiritual download, or it's a thought or idea in our head, right? But when you write it down, you're starting to bring it into the physical. You're starting to move it, which is just like manifestation, right? It's coming from this space, something we can't see, probably can, can't like physically use our senses for necessarily, but we know about, and we want it to be in our physical reality, right? So writing it down is very powerful. And if you're not a writer, I know not everyone is a writer, you can speak it too. You can speak it, because your vocal cords are literally physically moving, and sound is very powerful as well. If you're not a writer, it's okay. You can speak it, whether it's to someone or even by yourself. Like,
it is more powerful when we speak it. Speak that. And actually, entering a group container has got a very powerful manifesting effect, because that is like speaking your intention very powerfully to the universe. So that's what I feel. So if you, for example, stepped into a course, step into your psychic superpowers, that in itself is a powerful manifesting thing. I used to find as well, like when I used to get Reiki or healing treatments off other people, I would feel better, and the healing energy would start flowing as soon as I'd made the appointment, because that's like sending the intention to the universe that that's what you want. And,
you decided. You're like, okay, decided, done, going for it. And the universe is like, okay, here we go. I'm going to support you in that.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to mention, I don't know if you feel the same about this, Kaitlyn, something else, that for me, I like to ask things to be manifested, or write down my intention of what I would like to be manifested, like once, and then forget about it. I don't like to focus on manifesting it every day, because for me, I feel that's like in the kind of like almost like a begging for something energy. And I think for me, if I'm asking something again and again and again, it's because I doubt it's going to come to me, and it's going to remind me of doubts and things. So I think ask the universe, so what your beliefs are. Maybe you feel you're asking the universe, or asking spirit, or the moon goddess, I don't know, whatever you feel. But actually, manifestation, having said all that, actually manifestation is, because we're spirit, because we have the spark of the divine, it is our us creating from our own will, from our own divine spark. So it's not really like asking an outside force. It's like we are spirit, and so we create it by ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. And I can help you overcome that if you resonate with kind of the opposite of what Elaine was saying. She says she lets go. If you kind of ask for it again and again, I can help you work through that. I talk with women all the time who have a very strong worry muscle, is what I call it. They're really good at worrying. Because there is an important aspect of manifestation to release it, just like I talked a little bit about releasing fears right before you set your intentions. The same thing is true even when you do declare it and decide. You have to kind of release and have this openness of, okay, that could show up, or something better could show up, and bring your focus back. Usually I find to the present moment. Kind of what you can control, because all your power, right? Your presence is your power, into the present moment. And that's why tools like breath helps, because it's like, okay, I can control my breath, or movement, these actions sometimes that are outside of what we think our goal might be, right? If I have a goal to make $5,000 in a month or something, I can still work on that, bringing my presence about, whether that's breath work or something, or doing a moon ritual, as well as putting myself out there, marketing, talking to people, hopping on sales calls and things like that. So you're right. There is a release that has to happen in both of those phases, because I talked about not too long ago in a live, it's like when you order something on Amazon, or you order something off the internet, right? you purchase it and you're not like, you don't keep checking the order, right? Keep checking,
Right, yeah.
waiting by your door, like, oh, is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So the manifestation process, is similar. You're just trusting that's on its way to me.
That will be delivered. Yeah. And I think another thing is that if we want something now, it's important to ask for it now as well, because sometimes we think we're not ready yet, so we give a future timeline, but it's important to ask, the right kind of timeline when you want things to be manifested. And also, things might not show up in the way that you expect them to when you're manifesting.
Hardly ever, I find, anyways. It's usually, sometimes it's that or something better, or it just happens in ways that I could have never predicted in a million years.
Yeah, so it's important to be open in all the ways that we can receive, the results of our manifestations. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to say on the topic. I just wanted to mention that I am running an abundance one-off session because I had an experience where I was told by my spirit guides to connect to an abundant ancestor, because people who already have, material abundance, they don't tend to have all of the blocks that I'm making an assumption about most people watching this. We would be ancestrally, we would have been the common people, right? The peasants, maybe like these, ancestrally, our ancestors more than likely struggled through poverty, the vast majority, and people who are wealthy tend to have a lot less money blocks because they have the expectation that they can easily receive wealth, right? Whereas I feel like with my family and things like that, it's more kind of like the expectation is that wealth is extremely, extremely, extremely hard to come by. We have to grind for it. We have to work for it, and even then it probably won't be enough, kind of thing. Like, this is the kind of like attitude that the kind of like, what's the word? Limiting beliefs that most of us kind of inherit from our ancestry. But yeah, my spirit guides were talking to me about, they were letting me know of a wealthy ancestor that I had, and asking me to connect into that energy and download the energy of that ancestor. So everyone would have, a few wealthy ancestors in their past, and we can actually connect to their energy, and we can connect to their money mindset and bring that into our current energy. So yeah, I do have a group session coming up for that as well. So if anyone's interested, send me a message. There will be a recording available for that one. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes. Now is the time. If you resonate with Elaine and her offerings, now is the time. Jump in, hop in on that opportunity, because it's a choice. It's your choice whether you want to call it in or whether you want to continue and repeat things that have life. But now is a great season, the season of Sagittarius. That's a season of abundance and prosperity and good luck and adventure. And we can help you do that, right, intuitively, right? Whether it's with Elaine or myself, feel free to reach out. I'm excited to have my free Lunar Abundance Challenge. And then, of course, my Facebook group, which I will link somewhere after this video as well for anyone who's interested. But take action, act now. Connect with your presence. Say yes to you.
Yeah, absolutely. important to say yes to ourselves and get that, take action. If you're drawn to something, take action, and that it's that positive momentum as well with that as well. So yeah,
trust it. Yeah, even if you're just curious, right? Even if you're just a little curious about it, listen to that, act on that quickly, and then your intuition gets stronger and stronger and stronger. But yeah, and thank you, Elaine, too, for inviting me here today and chatting. And hopefully we can do more of these. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. So I'd love to, if you're watching on the replay, I'd love to hear your comments and everything like that. But yeah, thank you for joining me, Kaitlyn, and have a lovely rest of the day.
Yeah, thank you too.
You're welcome. Bye.